if somebody eventually like me wanted to go outside of California, do I just pick any market? Like, can I go to Detroit, Michigan and make as much money as somewhere else? Or how would I go about selecting the right market? And what should I look for basically? It maybe in regard to population, jobs as well too. Like, is there anything that plays a factor there?
Yeah, man, great question. I get that a lot from California people too.
I know.
They're like, oh, I can't invest in California. And I'm a believer that there's acres of diamonds in your own backyard, right? Like, I think that I think the best place to start is in your own backyard, assuming you understand the municipal laws, how to underwrite it, the nuances of the court system, the nuances of the building department, the nuances of the housing laws and landlord-tenant regulations and all that stuff. So like, I'm a big believer in just doing deals in your own backyard and starting out that way. Are there greener pastures? I don't know, maybe. Like, I invest heavily in the Southeast because of a few reasons. It's very landlord friendly versus tenant friendly in a lot of the Northeast or maybe the out west on the coast. So I like landlord friendly areas. It makes it a little bit easier to do business. And if a tenant doesn't pay, or if a tenant has drugs, or if a tenant's not respectful to the other tenants, and we need to kick them out, it's a little bit easier to go through that process and faster to go through that process. So that's one reason. Another reason I invest more in the South is because it doesn't get beat up by the snow and the ice and the freezing temperatures that like a Cleveland, Ohio does. Dude, I vividly remember freezing temperatures, -20 degrees in Cleveland, Ohio for almost a week straight back in 2013 going into 14. And all the plumbing, and like, we have boiler systems out in Cleveland. So it's one central heating system, which is another issue because that's all on the landlord, right? I don't have that down in Georgia. Like, everything's like centrally, it's all central HVAC, tenants pay all that stuff, and I don't have to deal with it. So up in Ohio, I have to handle all that kind of stuff. I'm paying the utility bills, and the pipes froze that one time. So and it only happened on a Saturday night at 10 o'clock. So now I'm going to Walmart buying space heaters and taking them over to the property. And it's just like in the middle of the night, in the middle of the freezing cold, delivering it to tenants. And it was horrible. You don't deal with that in Georgia. You can work on the properties year round down in the South versus in Ohio. You can only do exterior work about 6, 7, 8 months out of the year. The other 4 months, your kind of hands are tied. You got to wait. So, there's a lot of things like that where I think there are maybe some benefits to certain markets. But I think there's deals in everybody's market. If you're looking at new markets, I would look for actual markets where somebody that you feel confident and comfortable kind of joint venturing with. Somebody who knows what they're doing, somebody who can go and source deals locally, who can operate those deals, who can keep the contractors honest locally, who can go and put their eyes on it to keep the management company honest, kind of act as a boots on the ground type person. So I'm in 12 different states, and I invest in those different states based on who I know and who brings me a deal in those markets. And if I like that operator and I feel confident in their ability, I will go and buy in that marketplace. And as long as they're have an equitable interest in the deal to make sure that it gets performing. So I would look at that. And then from like a demographic standpoint, dude, there's markets that are growing. There's markets that are stagnant. There's markets that are declining. I don't necessarily look at some of those things maybe as in depth as other people do. What I look for is really good school system, or like a decent, respectable school system, a safe place where people can walk around and not have to worry about getting mugged or robbed or any garbage like that. The kids can run around and ride their bikes on, down the sidewalk. And then I look for some sort of economic anchor, something that, is big business or like government jobs or military base or higher education of some sort. That's like an anchor to the community, hospital that creates a bunch of jobs there. And then there's all these ancillary businesses around it that stimulate the economy, the local economy. So if it has those three things, I don't really care if the population is increasing, decreasing, or staying steady. I know that if I can then go and take a look at if I get a good deal on an apartment building and I can renovate it and I can have the nicest units in town and I can at least match or beat the price of across the street and whoever's offering those units, I know I'm going to attract the best quality tenants in that marketplace, and then my occupancy is going to stay high. And they're not going to leave. They're not going to go somewhere else. They're going to stay in that unit longer because there's nothing nicer and offering as much value for the price point. So that's more my philosophy. I know some people are like very data driven and analytical on some of that stuff, and that's okay. I don't know. I don't get caught up in that. I just want the nicest building, the nicest units in an area for the lowest price point, and naturally all those other tenants who leave those other buildings are going to be coming to my building.
Sometimes it paralyzes you to be so to look at too many different data points. You've got so much information that it gets you scared to even do anything, and you don't end up doing anything